Hi, I am Mallika Chopra and welcome to the Chopra Well. I am so excited. I am here today with my good friend and our family yoga teacher, Tara Stiles. So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I'm curious, obviously, I grew up doing meditation, but not yoga. How did you discover this practice in your life and kind of what made you really pursue this as your career?
Well, when I was a little kid, we grew up in a lot of land in a tiny little town and lots of nature, so I'd kind of go off to the woods and do, I think, things that all kids do, like kind of play around in trees and feel connected and all that stuff. I didn't really know it was called meditation or yoga. And then I was in a ballet program growing up because I was always having a lot of energy and super physical. And we had yoga in the program to calm us down and help everybody focus and kind of to alleviate sore muscles. And I was so excited because the first yoga class I did, the teacher was like happy, and like I asked him about my experience in the woods, and he was like, "Yeah, that's yoga." And I was just so excited that this was something that was a practice that you could do.
And so as a dancer, physically, what did yoga bring for you that you weren't getting, say, from the dancing and stretching?
Yeah, well, I mean, it did contemporary dance too. I mean, ballet and classical modern, and it's pretty much the opposite of yoga. So everything has to be in a perfect shape, or otherwise you're not completing the movement.
Yeah.
And that's what was so exciting about yoga, because you're going to your own limit and you're finding, sort of the ease in that movement, and it just brought everything to, for me, from a performance aspect and also just from a mental and spiritual and emotional aspect, it was definite key. I was like, I have to do this forever. This is amazing.
Well, and let's talk about that, because you are one of those people who's made a great career out of yoga. You've done a DVD series with my father. You have a popular YouTube channel. You are now launching a Reebok line of clothing. So, how have you made this kind of from your passion to really a career? Because I think that's something that many people strive to do.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't plan it going in. It was something I was always super passionate about. I never knew it could be a job, especially when I started doing it. I didn't see, yoga teachers around doing things like that, really doing it for money. All the yoga teachers that I saw, either had a job and did this on the side, or this was something that they just did. And I just kept doing it, and then, one thing kind of led to another. When the internet boom started happening with blogging, I was like, okay, I wanted to get my family involved, and they were like, well, what are you doing? Is this weird? Like they were very confused about what it was. So I started blogging, like, yoga you can do on the couch, and yoga you can do, right in bed, and just things to make it more simple and a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And turns out that was sort of what helped me create something from scratch that didn't really exist in the yoga community yet.
Yeah.
So I sort of started to say, oh my gosh, there's actual things that I can do for this. And I opened the studio around that time and started writing books, and just kind of kept going with that feeling and that intention, really, as you always say, which I always love about that. So it's just more like following the intention, and then everything that I've done since then has just been about that intention of sharing something that helps everybody and helps myself as well at the same time. That's incredibly useful, and I just feel lucky that I get to be doing something that is helpful for myself and hopefully useful for people.
And what is it about, do you like to teach? I mean, obviously you opened up Strala Yoga and it's a popular yoga studio, but what is it about teaching that you like? Or
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like super physical. Again, growing up, I got to teach dance when I was, 6, 7, 8 years old. I was assisting the little one. So just that instant gratification of, oh, somebody did something and they feel accomplished. And I think especially with yoga, it's so many components, not just the physical, but the emotional and the spiritual. And you have no idea what somebody's going through, and then they may tell you after the class that about all of their traumas in their lives or their physical accomplishments, and it's different for everybody. So I think that's super gratifying, and it just makes me feel even more grounded and connected.
so tell me the truth. I'm sure when you're teaching my dad yoga, you must feel like holding back at the giggles the whole time. I know I would be. But I know you go and you teach him, and I have to say he has found it incredibly useful, because even as someone who obviously meditates and has a very disciplined practice, the yoga brought something else. But is it crazy teaching
I know,
him?
it's especially the first or second, the whole, I started telling people don't believe it. They're just like, I'm like, he just said the first time, said, I know all about yoga, but let's do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. And he also doesn't care about being good at a pose, or, he doesn't want to be on the cover of a magazine doing a dancer pose. He doesn't care about that stuff. So he just, he wants to feel that sense of space in his body that he, obviously has from the meditation and all of his knowledge of everything, just feeling that sort of, I think, energy and that vigor in his body, I think was really kind of cool to see him get physical in that way and sort of really kind of get hooked on it.
So he may say to you, he doesn't care about the poses, but like he'll do them in front of my mom and like all of us to show how perfect he is at certain poses. Funny. So Tara, we saw this video on YouTube, which I want to watch, which is you going back to your hometown and doing yoga in your community. You want to share a little bit about that? Because now I really see you as like the urban yogi. Like you're so hip and cool, and whenever I see you, you like are dressed like totally cool. Like you're the cool yoga instructor. So I'm curious what it was like to go back. It looks like you came from, you know, a small town where yoga wasn't necessarily a part of the culture.
Oh yeah, it's super tiny. So like I'm from a tiny little farm community, and my mother's family runs a farm, and you know, it's really tiny, one of these everybody knows everybody town. And since I've really been getting into yoga more, I've always wanted to, you know, go there. It's nice to have a yoga studio in New York, and it's gratifying, but again, people have access to this here, so it's, you know, I'd love to go and just see what happened if we did a yoga party there and sort of got in. And it was, you know, I thought at first that nobody would want to do it, and everybody would say, oh, that's weird, or I don't want to exercise, or it just feels uncomfortable in my body because, you know, they're busy working, or they just have a totally different lifestyle. But everybody got really into it, and sort of all of the like emotional components even came out, and a lot of people have like pretty serious health problems there, so they knew they wanted to feel better. And so I think that sense of, you know, everybody wants to feel good and feel connected and feel happy and all of those things, and everybody has a different way of expressing it. So that really came out and was really kind of intense, actually.
Well, it's a great video. Let's watch it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thanks.